Nitmar kicks it out. Toppin. Good contest from Dort. Haliburton falls down. He looks hurt.
Urgency has come to me, but I can barely see it at all. Render me with energy, but hope and pray that I don't fall. It feels like centuries since you said to me, you're dead to me. And there's no guarantee, the misery is bittersweet. I can't pretend to be a fantasy for you to dream upon, 'cause these feelings are gone. Yeah, watching everything that you touch burn, keep circling around, make my head turn. Take all of the pressure, but I never learn. Optimism never helps, 'cause it gets worse. Listening to Goliath up in my car, trying to drive, but I never really go far. Light years serve no purpose when we're still apart. Can't keep looking up to a dead star. Dead star, dead star. Looking up to a dead star. Dead star. Ooh, oh. Our love was an illusion, built in a world of your delusion. Jumped ahead to the conclusion, to the end, avoid confusion. It's just not meant to be. And your clutch was everlasting, no. But I don't wanna keep on grasping, trying to hold on to the acting, but your mask, it starts retracting, and I'm breaking myself free. Watching everything that you touch burn, keep circling around, make my head turn. Take all of the pressure, but I never learn. Optimism never helps, 'cause it gets worse. Listening to Goliath up in my car, trying to drive, but I never really go far. Light years serve no purpose when we're still apart. Can't keep looking up to a dead star. Dead star, dead star. Looking up to a dead star. Dead star. Looking up to a dead star.
All of our hearts dropped, but we'll be back.
Have I ever told you the story of the tragedy of Tyrese Haliburton? He once saved his Indiana Pacers from the likes of the Milwaukee Bucks, and then once did it again against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and even stuck a dagger through the heart of the New York faithful and the New York Knicks. A man of many miracles he was. We once believed he could even defeat Oklahoma City, and had truly put himself in a position to be able to do so, saving Indiana from the fates of many of the teams that Oklahoma City left in their wake. However, there was one thing Tyrese couldn't save: himself. And when he fell, so too did his Indiana Pacers. An empire fallen, a man fallen. And that was the end of the story for Tyrese Haliburton, a miracle worker unable to make his final miracle. However, I do not see this as the true ending to Tyrese Haliburton's story. A tragedy doesn't feel good. What did we learn from it? One shouldn't soar to the heights of being the clutchest player we've ever known, trying to carry a small market team to greatness under a small budget, trying to defeat a foul-baiting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, an MVP, a dominant defensive team, and the favorites. Should David never defeat Goliath? I don't believe that's a good ending to a story. And so what I want to do today is we are going to take Tyrese Haliburton, a player who will not be playing in next season, a player who is on a team who should barely see success without him, and will struggle to return in his return as well. The Pacers are in a tough position. They don't see much future. The light at the end of the tunnel is dim. But an ending like it happened, Game 7, the Achilles injury, is not what I want to see. We will turn this around, and we will finish this storybook ending that Haliburton had attempted to write. And so today we are going to be doing an Indiana Pacers rebuild in the wake of the Tyrese Haliburton injury in the NBA draft. Now, I know that there are many other NBA YouTuber and content creators who are in the process of making these, and you're looking at me like you're the MLB guy. You don't make NBA rebuilds. And while this is much true, I still have a lot of knowledge about the NBA. Outside of the 4-1 series, it has been about 9 years since I've done a rebuild on 2K, on YouTube at least, but my knowledge of the NBA is still pretty strong. But I don't want to do what everybody else does in NBA. I want to do the same things that you see that I do in MLB The Show. We're taking it realistically. We're presenting ourselves with challenges, and we're going to try to create the story that should have happened with Tyrese Haliburton in this rebuild. Now, the reason this works, I believe, is because the Indiana Pacers are a franchise much not like any other in the NBA. The Pacers are one of the cheapest organizations in the NBA. They actually fit many of the qualifications of all the teams that I rebuild in the MLB, so ends up being a pretty good parallel there. The Pacers are one of the only teams that have not gone into the luxury tax. They actually avoid it at all costs. In addition, they cannot afford to tank. They don't make any money. They are in a very small market. They don't attract free agents. They don't sign large deals. In fact, when they do, they often have to trade them away. The way the Pacers have found success is working along the margins with every single trade deal, free agency signing, and draft pick to develop their players and their talent to being good role players, to trying to fleece any other GM to give them a potential role player that can fit in a playoff rotation, as well as signing any guy that they can on the minimum deal to bring them in to produce over what their expected value is in the NBA. We don't have Tyrese Haliburton for 2025-2026. And so this team is actually slightly overvalued, and expectations are a lot higher. Without our star player, we're not going to succeed. The East may be wide open due to all the Achilles injuries that have occurred. We're not going to see Boston. We're not going to see Milwaukee, and now we are no longer in the way. This means that anybody could win in the East this year. While we might expect it to be Cleveland or New York, there's still openings for some surprise teams to slip their way in. Atlanta, Detroit, Toronto. Many teams can possibly contend this upcoming season. And so what we're going to be looking to do is trying to make sure we are operating on the margins, trying to get as much value as we can out of any players, and at least we cannot tank, we cannot go into the luxury tax. We are not going to be able to operate by the rules that every other contending team is. And hopefully, when Haliburton returns, we'll have a team built around him that can bring him right back to the promised land. And since they didn't have a first-round pick, the only second-round pick they were able to get was Cam Jones, who, I guess technically they still have another second-round pick later in the draft, but the only one that's going to matter is Cam Jones, who they traded with the Spurs for, and is actually one of my favorite players in the draft in the second round, mainly because he went to Marquette. I'm a Marquette fan. Taking a look at the roster for this year, we have $12.7 million in space before we hit the luxury tax. Now, we also have to sign Miles Turner and Isaiah Jackson. So, what we're probably going to be having to do is we're going to have to sell off on somebody this year. I'm not sure who it's going to be. It's going to be whatever I can get value back in return for. But we are going to have to make some selling moves because we cannot afford to go cross that luxury tax threshold. There are two main guys that make the most sense to move, and while I don't really want to move either of them, we kind of have to do what we have to do. TJ McConnell, a big piece to this team, is a player who at age 33 isn't going to see much. I guess he'd be our starting point guard this year, but I'm really kind of thinking he's not going to see much but regression for the rest of his career. I want to put him in a position to win. I know Memphis isn't exactly that, but as a backup point guard, could be good behind John Morant. And the other thing that I think we can move off of is the lob threat Obi Toppin. And without having Haliburton to throw lobs to him, I don't necessarily think he provides much value for us this upcoming season. And as his contract continues to get larger, it makes the most sense to move off of Toppin. We're just going to get some young assets in return, and hopefully a protected first-round pick from the Memphis Grizzlies. They want to give me John Conchar for a second. I'm okay with that. I'll probably trade Conchar for like nothing. And so we are going to reroute John Conchar to Chicago, where he is from, for a lottery-protected first this upcoming year. So now looking at this season, we have $34 million of room to work around to be able to bring back Miles Turner, find somebody on a mid-level exception, bring back Isaiah Jackson, and all of those deals should supposedly get us right under that luxury tax threshold. And once we get to that point, then we're going to have to look at who we're going to move the next year. And I think one thing we're going to be considering this whole time, because he's 31, he will soon be 32, is where Pascal Siakam could possibly end up as a trade piece. I like Siakam. I have no desire to trade him either, but as he ages, he's another player where I'd have to look and say, okay, so we can get your trade value up this year. We're going to be the primary option for the first half of the season. Then we can look at all the contenders in the East, which are all going to believe that they can make it to the NBA Finals because the East is wide open. And maybe we can fleece somebody out of some younger assets in return for Siakam and then have some money to spend when Haliburton is finally back and not have to build around a 33-year-old power forward at that point. There wasn't a whole lot of options for mid-level exception players to bring in, and so Ben Simmons is going to be our MLE this year to be our point guard. I signed him to a 3-year deal so I could give him an extension as well as giving him extra, I guess, ability to complete him as an asset. Meaning I can trade him at any point once we have him in, especially if he doesn't provide value. But we can hope that for this year he can be a decent starting point guard. If Nembhard might be our starting point guard. I will say that. We are starting off the year 25th in power rankings. We are not expected to make the playoffs. There are a lot of other Eastern Conference teams that are probably going to be worse than us, so there's still a good chance we could fight our way in. A lot of that is going to be judged based on the production of Pascal Siakam. I think if we're in a position where we're facing a play-in spot, I'd be willing to trade and sell at that deadline rather than going in and trying to really compete for a play-in. I know I want to make sure that we're making the playoffs, but if we can sell and save some cash and get some assets back for when Haliburton returns, that's going to be a much better spot to be in than not. And so this year, Andrew Nembhard is going to be taking the starting point guard spot for the year with Ben Shepherd at the 2, Benedict Mathurin at the 3, Siakam at the 4, Turner at the 5 with Nesmith, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jarris Walker, and Ben Simmons in the main part of the rotation. We are going to be making sure that Cam Jones, Jalen McDaniels, Johnny Furphy, and Vince Williams Jr. are all going to be doing a really heavy training to try to get much better. As I want to make sure that they can develop and play well. I think Johnny Furphy is a big one where I want to see him actually be useful for us in the future. But otherwise, this is the team. There is still a good chance that when we think about it, any of these guys could get traded. No one is untouchable. Besides maybe, I think Miles Turner is probably the only one who I wouldn't trade away. And that's only because he's kind of a veteran here. I feel like you don't trade him away. Maybe we do. but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless I have another center that I can get back in return. Siakam is available. Mathurin is available. Shepard is available. Nembhard is available. Nesmith is available. I am not going to just sell to sell. We're only doing this if we can get a good contract value back in return, as well as a good asset. But looking at this upcoming season, let's just see if we can contend for the play-in and see what teams we might be able to fleece at the deadline. And it's actually not off to a bad start. I mean, we do lose the first game, but only by 2, meaning I think that if we're losing only by 2 to the New York Knicks in our first game of the season, maybe we won't be that bad. However, after about a month of play, we find ourselves at 7-11. We're pretty even, so we actually should be shooting to a little bit closer to 500. When you look at the other teams around us, they have a much worse differential than we do. We are just not winning the games we need to. We don't have our clutch guy in the games in order to be able to bring us into it. Looking at the rest, I mean, we could jump up 2 spots and say we're in the playoff, or play-in race at least. Just looking at differentials to start. So, still a good shot. Looks like the Knicks are going to be good, the Magic are going to be good, the Pistons, the Hawks, and the Cavs. And after a good run to put together a nice second month of the season to get ourselves back up to where it looks like we should be, we are the 6th seed now in the East, just above the Milwaukee Bucks with the expected 5 above us. Could we possibly contend? Yes. I don't know if we're going to hold on to the 6th seed for long. I think Milwaukee or Toronto will get there. Surprisingly, I believe that Milwaukee, I don't actually know how they were able to do it when I looked at their roster. They ended up signing James Harden, Clint Capella, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Russell Westbrook. So, I guess they actually might be a threat. Hard to say what teams would actually be capable of making a good move with us. I look at the Raptors, who are 15-17, but are buying. I think they believe that this is their window. We could look at this team and see if we could get a guy like RJ Barrett, but that's a pretty expensive contract to pick up. Don't necessarily know if he would be the right guy. The Knicks have probably the most guys available for trade, but it's going to be hard for us to realistically make a deal with a team that we just don't get along with. The team that I think we'd be the most able to fleece would be the Sacramento Kings. So what we might look at is what pieces we could possibly get off of their roster, because I think this is a team that we might be able to snag someone off of, because they often have very, very bad management. However, the longer I wait, looking at deals, trying to find something to come up, the only deal that makes sense is Domantas Sabonis, and I'm not sure I want to make that move because I actually don't think Sabonis makes the team better. I could get a boatload of picks from the Kings for Siakam, or even somebody as low as, Mathurin or Nembhard, or I just don't think that makes a whole lot of sense for us to do. So, being the 3 seed in the East right now behind Siakam, really, because the East is just pretty bad in general, I think we're just going to roll with it. We have a pretty even attack. We've got 20 points or almost 21 from Siakam, 18.5 from Mathurin, 14.5 from Pippen, 12.5 from Turner, 12.5 from Nesmith, 11 from Nembhard, almost 10 from Walker. Across the board, we've been actually pretty good, and we've been pretty efficient. I think I would like to see a little bit better, but we've been a pretty good team this year, and I think defensively we're even better than where we've been offensively. And so I'm actually pretty content with this team just seeing what we can do without Haliburton, so that way we know what guys won't perform in the playoffs when he comes back. But considering that the team is good, and I don't necessarily think we need to have more production out of Jarace Walker, why not get the haul of picks back from the Sacramento Kings? We are trading Jarace Walker for Keegan Murray and 4 firsts. I do have to throw in Johnny Murphy in the deal, but we're going to get 4 firsts from the Kings for Jarace Walker. But I figured I wasn't going to keep Keegan Murray, so I rerouted him to Portland with some of those picks for, in my mind, the perfect wing to go alongside Tyrese Haliburton. He has a descending contract. He is a good ball handler, passer, shooter, and defender, and will be a fantastic piece if we're trying to keep the team cheap as a contract, but also be a really good shooting guard for us when we are back into contention next year. And so we've saved money, added assets, and when Haliburton gets back next year, he should have a core of Deni Avdija, Pascal Siakam, Ben Mathurin, Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard, and Miles Turner to play with. But with Deni Avdija tearing his left calf near the end of the season, we're not really going to be able to see him in the playoffs, meaning at least we'll be ready for next year with a good core of players. At the end of the season, the MVP is Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Rookie of the Year goes to Cooper Flagg with the Mavericks averaging 18, 7, and 5. Malik Monk gets Sixth Man of the Year with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He must have been traded from the Kings at the deadline. Wembanyama wins DPOY. Modest Bazelis wins Most Improved Player for the Bulls. And Clutch Player of the Year goes to Jalen Brunson of the Knicks. Your All-NBA first team had 2 Milwaukee Bucks plus Wembanyama, Jokic, and Luka. The second team didn't have any of us, but I can see a king up here in Domantas Sabonis, and Joel Embiid made the team as well. We don't have any All-NBA players. Booker, Brunson, Edwards, Cade, and Shea finished the third team. Do we get any all-defensive team players? It looks like we do not. So we're kind of a unique, young, and unknown team, and we'll see what we can do going into the postseason as the 2 seed in the East, being able to put together a really, really good year behind the backs of Pascal, and really just an all-around performance by everybody. Ignore the one game from Tyrese Haliburton. What happened was it came off of his injury, and then I had to just re-injure him because he's not actually going to play. They lost that game, so it didn't make a difference. But Pascal ends the season with 21 points per game. You can see 18 points per game from Deni. You see 18 from Mathurin, 14 from Pippen, 13, almost 14 from Turner, 11 from Nembhard, 11 from Nesmith, 7.7 from Jackson, and 7.6 from Shepard. Our top rebounder was Deni Avdija, actually, who had 9 rebounds per game for us, and probably mostly for Portland, honestly. Your assist leader was, besides Haliburton, Deni with 5.5 assists per game. I don't like to see that we didn't get as much from Nembhard. He didn't pass the ball as much as I would have liked. Steals leader was Nembhard with Pippen right behind him. Blocks leader was Turner with 1.6. Our most efficient scorer, I guess, was McDaniels, who didn't miss a shot all season. Good for him. And then Ben Simmons, who shot almost 59% from the field this year. We take a look at our best three-point shooters outside of Haliburton. 43% from Miles Turner was our best three-point shooter. I still think we were pretty good. I mean, you generally say probably 36% or higher is normally what you're looking for, and we got that from just about everybody. And then our best free throw percentage, Ben Shepard, actually, 91% from the free throw line. League leaders this year had Jalen Brunson get the scoring title, averaged 32 points per game, just above Anthony Edwards' 31.9, and Giannis' 31.5, 3 guys over 30 points per game. Got a bunch of guys over 10 rebounds per game, with Wembanyama leading the way with 13.9 over Jaren Duren. Your top assister was James Harden, averaging 9.8 assists in the league this year, above Trey and not Luka, Jokic, and then Luka. Steals leader was Asar Thompson, not Dyson Daniels, much to my surprise. And your top block getter, Victor Wembanyama, easily Defensive Player of the Year. Best field goal percentage on the season, Derek Lively with a almost 65% from the field this year. And your top three-point shooter this year, Malik Beasley, almost 49% from the arc this year. And your top free throw shooter is going to be Steph Curry with a 94.7% from the line. We are taking on the Orlando Magic in the first round, in which we have to play the 7-seeded team that has Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and Desmond Bane. Can we take them down in Game 1 of this series? We can win Game 1. Can we win Game 2? We are tied 1-1. In Game 3, Mathurin, bruised left hip, is going to have to come out. City Sissoko has a migraine. Don't really care. But we win that one 152-117. Dominant game. Siakam had 35. Turner had 25. Mathurin played anyways. Deni's back. Had 16 in this one after his injury. When we look at it, can we go and see who else advances? It is tied 2-2. Detroit sweeps Milwaukee. They are the first one in, as well as Dallas, behind Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. In Game 5 against the Orlando Magic. Okay, City Sissoko's healthy. We win that one 122-117. We are up 3-2 on Orlando, going in to try to make it Looks like we have a game 7 here in this first round against the Orlando Magic. Mathurin is healthy. Let's see what we can do here in this simcast against the Magic. They're going to take the first quarter. We're going to take the second, but not by much. We're fighting back, coming back. Amazing third quarter from us. And we are going to come back and win by 3 points to advance to the second round of the playoffs. Another amazing game by Pascal Siakam gets him that. I did see, we just got the alert that Nembhard broke his ankle. So our starting point guard for the rest of the playoffs is going to be Ben Simmons or Scottie Pippen Jr. And so with Scottie Pippen Jr. starting this game, we are taking on Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons with Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Ron Holland, and Jalen Duren in their starting lineup. I also know they have Chris Paul off the bench as he tries to get his first NBA championship. Detroit versus Indiana in the second round. And so here we are. What are we going to see against Detroit? We take game 1, winning 113-98. In game 2 against Detroit, Ben Simmons is healthy. We are back, and we win game 2, up 2-0 now on Detroit after winning that one 118-107. I guess these role players are a lot better than I thought. In game 3, I get a little bit jinxed, and the Pistons do beat us 121-111. In game 4, we see them tie the series up 2-2. On the other side, you can see OKC is up 3-1, Minnesota's up 2-1, and Philly is up on Cleveland 2-1. Game 5 against Detroit, they come back and they are now up 3-2 on us. Philly has taken a 3-1 lead, OKC has advanced, and San Antonio has tied the series. Let's jump into a simcast because we are now in an elimination game. So here we are, game 6 of this second round of the playoffs, trying to make sure we can stay alive against Detroit. Detroit ties us in the first, but we come back in the second. It's a very, very close game. We did lose the first half by 1 point, but it is such a close game against Detroit right now. We are up in the third, taking a little bit of a lead, but they fight their way back. This is a really, really close game as we are in the fourth, up in the hundreds. Not a lot of defense being played. Detroit up to an early lead here in the fourth. It is 8-8 in the fourth. We can make a run if we need to, but we need to do it soon. Not a whole lot of time left. We are now down by 11 as Detroit has gotten a big lead. They're making their free throws now, and we are going to be unable to fight back as Detroit is going to beat us in 6 games. Actually, they don't have Chris Paul. They must have traded him for Drew Holiday, which I guess is a much better player to have on your team going for a playoff run. Jaren Duren drops 29. Cade had 25 in this round here. In Game 6, we had 25 from Siakam, 19 from Mathurin, and 15 from Denny. Just not enough. We just don't have a primary scorer here, so I like what we got out of our role players this season. The question will just become who's going to step up? What do we need to do around the margins of the roster this offseason? Is anybody going to get better when Tyrese comes back next year? Oklahoma City Thunder win back-to-back NBA Finals, defeating what actually is kind of a surprise to me, the Philadelphia 76ers in 7. Surprised it went 7? Surprised Philly is the 8th seed were able to make it there. You could not tell me a trade that has went out worse than the Pelicans trade, which happened just last night in the NBA draft, giving up the 2026 pick swap with the Bucks and their pick to Atlanta for essentially Derek Queen, because Atlanta has the number 1 overall pick from New Orleans, which means the Atlanta Hawks get AJ DeBansa. I also do believe that Thunder pick is wrongly conveyed to OKC due to a pick protection. I will manually override and give that pick to Utah. So I'm going to have to go in and undo this ridiculous trade that they just made. I think the player that I like the most in this draft is Malik Thomas, and that's who we're going to be getting at pick 21. There's a couple point guards I could also get. I know he is a point guard. I think he's going to be more of a 2 guard for us. And so we're going to get him from Arkansas with our pick at pick 21 and add him to a pretty good roster here. It's ridiculous I have to do this. I think it's ridiculous this trade even happened. But the Jazz are going to get Darren Peterson, I guess, back. So, what a trade that was at pick 2. insane if that actually happened, but we're fixing the mistakes. All this stemming essentially because 2K had incorrectly labeled a protection on a draft pick that the Thunder had with the Jazz. Wow. And so our team going into this season, trying to finally get a chance for Tyrese to essentially rewrite his story. He is going to have Denny Avdia, Benedict Mathurin, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Scottie Pippen Jr., Isaiah Jackson as the main part of the rotation, with Malik Thomas, Mikey Williams, Cam Jones, Jalen McDaniels, Kobe Jones, and Max Prosper as the rest of their roster. I had to trade Shepard, and I also signed Aaron Wiggins, but I was unable to keep them as we went over our threshold, and so I traded them both for Kobe Jones. Technically, I think we get a downgrade in that deal, but ends up meaning that we are underneath the luxury tax threshold. Now, that also means, as we get to the luxury tax threshold amount, Siakam is probably in his last year with us. If we do not succeed this year, I am going to have to trade him for a better contract. There's also a few big moves. Kevin Durant is now with the Wizards. LeBron is playing his final season of the NBA with the Chicago Bulls. James Harden returned back to the Clippers after his weird one-year stint with the Bucks. Luka is now an Atlanta Hawk. Jarris Walker jumped all the way up to an 86 overall after our trade. The Lakers have an insanely great defensive front court with Jaren Jackson and Walker Kessler. And Trae Young is a Rocket. Haliburton's first game back from his Achilles injury, he goes 31-11 in a victory over the Orlando Magic. And after a month of play, we're talking about 21 and 9 assists per game. The assists are a little bit down. He's got a couple more guys to throw it to. But what is really impressive is that three-point percentage is up to almost 47%. The team all around is actually just really well constructed at this point. A lot of great ball handlers, dribblers, and shooters means that there's so many weapons for Haliburton to get the ball to, he doesn't actually have to do a whole lot of work, which means we are the number 1 seed in the East, and with enough of a differential to say, kind of by a long shot. So we can look at the MVP race. He's never going to win it. He's never going to be able to put up the production that Wembanyama, Luka, Jokic, or Giannis are going to be able to put up. He's only going to be ahead of them because we are first in the Eastern Conference. But still, it is going to be a very, very competitive year as he tries to get his get back and tries to return to the dominance that he had in last year's playoffs, or not last year at this point, but 2 years ago, before the Achilles tear, and try to get his revenge once on the Knicks, and then, hopefully, on the Thunder. At the end of the season, Victor Wembanyama is the most valuable player in the league, averaging 26, 12.8, 4.2 assists, 1.7 steals, and 2.8 blocks on 49% from the field, 37 from 3, 85 from the free throw line. He probably has Defensive Player of the Year as well. Phenomenal year. Cam Boozer wins Rookie of the Year, the 4th overall pick to the Golden State Warriors. Josh Giddey gets 6th Man of the Year with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Wembanyama DPOY. VJ Edgecombe gets Most Improved Player, averaging 11, 7, and 7 for the Philadelphia 76ers. And Clutch Player of the Year goes to Jamal Murray, who averaged 23.7 for the Denver Nuggets. It's quite an interesting first team when I don't see any Nikola Jokic or Giannis Antetokounmpo. The first team is Victor Wembanyama, Ja Morant, Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham, and Alperen Şengün of the Houston Rockets. Second team has Giannis. It has Shea. Still no Jokic. Scoot Henderson, LaMelo Ball, and Kyrie Irving. And third team also, so Jokic must have got hurt. But Tyrese Haliburton comes back from his injury and makes it third team All-NBA with us for the Pacers. When it comes to all defensive teams, I'm going to guess we're not going to see anybody from our team. We do not. And all rookie teams, do we get anybody on our team making it? We do not. We are the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year, taking it in the East with a dominant performance. I guess we technically are only a little bit above the Cleveland Cavaliers, who go 58-24, the Atlanta Hawks in third with Luka, the 4th place Pistons with Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes' Raptors in 5th, LeBron James' Chicago Bulls in 6th, Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo's Heat in 7th, and the Magic with Paolo, Bane, Franz Wagner in 8th. On the season, Tyrese Haliburton averaged 21 points per game and 9 assists. We saw great production from everybody else. We ended up having Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, but 8 guys averaged double-digit points for us this season. What a phenomenal all-around offense we have. We have depth beyond anybody else in the league. Nobody else is going to be able to match our depth. We're going to have an 8-man rotation in the playoffs, and all of them are going to be competent NBA scorers. And that's not even to mention that we still had good production, I guess, from Isaiah Jackson, who is a player who doesn't really score a lot. Our top rebounder was Denny Avdia again, 9.8 rebounds per game for him. Our top assist getter, Tyrese Haliburton. Top steal getter, Tyrese Haliburton. And top shot blocker, Miles Turner. Our best field goal percentage, Jaden McDaniels, or Jalen, not Jaden. But Isaiah Jackson shot 56% from the field. We had 4 guys get over 50%, besides McDaniels, who has not missed a shot in 2 years. So good for him. 3-point percentage, though, I think the big one. Cam Jones, 44.4% from the 3-point line, and Haliburton up to 43.8% from the arc. We've got 5 guys who shot over 40% from 3 this year. We have a phenomenal 3-point shooting team. A lot of spacing around Haliburton's dishing ability. I think having him here improved the 3-point percentage a lot. And then Neesmith led the way for the team in free throw percentage. I'm excited to see if this team can have this translate. The just phenomenal shooting across the board from the roster added to decent, I guess our weakness is probably defense, but decent scoring ability. I'm excited. League leaders had Ja Morant win the scoring title, averaging 31.3 now that Jaren Jackson is no longer part of the team, him being on the Lakers. Your top rebound getter is Nikola Jokic, who averaged 13. I can see he played 64 games, so 1 short of being able to qualify for awards. He had a good year, but I mean, 20, almost 26, 13, and 9. If he plays 1 more game this season, you're talking about definitely all-NBA first team. I mean, you're talking probably competitive with MVP between him and Wembanyama, especially considering the steals and blocks numbers he ended up having. Asar Thompson leads the way with steals, 2.4 steals per game, and your block leader is Victor Wembanyama with 2.8 blocks on the season. Most efficient scorer on the year is Derek Lively, who had a 65.7% field goal percentage on the season. Your most efficient 3-point shooter, Dalton Connect, who shot over 45% from the arc this season. Actually, Haliburton is up there. And then your most efficient free throw shooter this year, Bones Highland, 95.3% from the line. And so we have the Milwaukee Bucks this year. They have Michael Porter Jr., Giannis, and Clint Capella, with a backcourt of Kobe Buffkin and Andre Jackson Jr. Not really scared of this team. And so, can we take down the Bucks quickly so we can play the winner of Detroit and Toronto? Game 1, we win 121-96 over the Milwaukee Bucks. Game 2, we win 139-97, a big lead over them, already up 2-0. Taking game 3 is us again, 125-98. Game 4 for us against the Bucks is a sweep. We end up advancing. We will be taking on probably Detroit? Let's just see here. Detroit. Cleveland is running back with pretty much the same team. However, they have DeAndre Ayton now at center instead of Jalen Duren unless he's off the bench. So they must have traded him in the offseason because DeAndre Ayton has been here all year. They have had him. They do not have Duren anymore. They still have Drew Holiday and a bunch of other guys on this roster. But essentially, it's the Cade Cunningham show. And so in a battle of ethical hoops, we've got Cade Cunningham versus Tyrese Haliburton. Game 1 of the second round between the two Central Division opponents, the rivals from the mid-2000s, is going to go to Indiana. We win 135-111. Game 2 of this series here in Indiana is going to also go to us. We win 110-103. Miles Turner had 26 points in Game 2. DeAndre Ayton led the way for them. Cunningham with only 17 in Game 2. In Game 1, Cunningham did have 27, but he was unable to stop Haliburton's 39-9. When we go back, let's go see as we get to Game 3. Can we take them out in Detroit, or are they going to return and make this into a series here as our first game on the road? Nembhard pulls a left calf. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the playoffs. Is going to end up in a Pistons victory. They are up 107-92. It is 2-2. If we can win Game 4, we'll pretty much cement a series victory here, though. Unless we had another injury, Benedict Mathurin, pulled right bicep. He is going to be injured. They are going to come back. It's 124-98. Two big games, I'm going to guess both from Cunningham, and we didn't get as much production across the board as injuries are starting to play a little bit of a factor. And Haliburton, just wasn't very into the game. I guess he fouled out early. So Cunningham is going to cause problems for Tyrese Haliburton's defense. Cleveland is up 3-1. Denver is up 3-1. OKC has beat the Spurs in a sweep. So Game 5 back in Indiana. Can we take this one? Actually, before I do this, let me go change my coach game plan now that I have some injuries. We're going to shrink this rotation because I don't have as many guys for this series with Mathurin injured. Pippen is playing poorly. I did get Ben Seraph for Kobe Jones, by the way. All right, Game 5. We take that one back at home. We win by 47 over the Pistons. What a game we end up having. 35-12 with 3 steals and 4 blocks for Haliburton. Cunningham didn't even foul out, just had 20 points, and that was all he could produce. Game 6, can we take down Detroit and advance to the Eastern Conference Finals? We can. We are taking on Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals as OKC plays Denver in the Western Conference Finals. And I believe they no longer have DeAndre Hunter. I believe they traded him for Aaron Gordon. They also don't have Garland either. This team is Donovan Mitchell, Mobley, and Jared Allen. They no longer have DeAndre Hunter. They no longer have Darius Garland. Must have traded him for Emmanuel quickly. And I know they have Aaron Gordon off their bench. I mean, you could just take a look at this Denver team to see that, yes, they did make the move. They also have Damian Lillard from the Bucks, which is why Michael Porter Jr. was on the Bucks. We also can't forget 6th Man of the Year Josh Giddey playing for them for a $2 million deal because he didn't get signed. And so Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Cleveland versus Indiana, the 2 seed versus the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Can we take down Cleveland? They win Game 1, 130-126. It's a close one. Haliburton puts up 23 and 12. Mathurin fouls out. It looks like that was kind of a big factor. And Denny Avdia putting up only 4 points before he fouled out. Another reason why we were unable to win that one. And they had a big-time performance from their big three. 27 for Mobley, 25 for Mitchell, and 23 for Allen. In Game 2, can we return and use our depth to make sure we don't foul down 0-2 to Cleveland? We cannot. They win 105-100. Haliburton 26 and 9, but we're just not getting the level of production we need from the rest of the guys here. And we're also getting foul outs. Miles Turner fouls out this time. As we see, they just kind of had an even performance from everybody, and they were able to kind of take advantage of it. All right, going into Cleveland, we now need to take 2 games off of them on the road. Game 3 in Cleveland. We take that one 141-132, playing our style of basketball. A lot of scoring, not much defense. It's all you need. A very fast-paced game. OKC is up 2-0 on Denver on the other side. In Game 4, can we win a second one on the road? We can, winning both games on the road to tie it up. We win 136-100. Mitchell had 25, but the rest of the guys had not much, as Denny Avdia with 30, Mathurin with 30, and Haliburton with 25 and 13. Going into Game 5 back in Indiana, we technically do need to win a game at home. We can't win all the games in Cleveland in order to be able to win this series. Can we pull a Milwaukee Bucks circa 2021 and win 4 straight after dropping the first 2? Siakam strained left hip. He will be out for the rest of the playoffs. It won't matter for this one. We win 147-116. If we beat Cleveland in Game 6, we will be advancing to a rematch against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 6. They tie it up 124-92. We are going to have to play Game 7 here to see if we can advance to the NBA Finals. Haliburton had a really, really bad Game 6. A lot of this game is going to be on the back of Tyrese Haliburton and Denny Avdia. Mathurin is hurt. Siakam is hurt. Nembhard is hurt. We are playing. It's a game of attrition. The road to the NBA Finals is, and I'm hoping that those injuries aren't going to be enough to let us lose to Cleveland. We have to win this one to get our rematch. And so Game 7 against Cleveland. Let's start this one and please get off to a good start, Tyrese. We start scoring a lot. Big first quarter for us. We go up huge in the first. 27-8, 30-11, 33-13. We are up by 20. We are up by almost 30 after the first quarter. 41-16 difference in the first quarter against Cleveland. Haliburton showed up today. Denny showed up today. They knew what was on the line. They knew they had to both play well after playing so poorly in Game 6. They had to show up here in Game 7. We'll just kind of sim a little bit faster through the third quarter, and we'll jump in here at the end of the fourth to see us with our trophy celebration in the Eastern Conference Finals, as we are going to be advancing to the NBA Finals. The bench is in. We're going to dribble out the clock. We will have to make sure to take one shot here, as we're going to let our bench guys get a chance to at least do something. Nembhard comes up, pulls up a little midi as Cleveland grabs the rebound, hands it off to Quickly. The Cavaliers will not be making the finals. The Indiana fans get to see the revenge of the 2025 finals. Will Haliburton be able to take down the Oklahoma City Thunder? We are going back to the finals only 2 years after the catastrophic tragedy of Tyrese Haliburton's Achilles injury in Game 7. Can we get our vengeance and make sure the Thunder do not three-peat this mid-2020 series? We're going to see this celebration as we get to hold up the trophy, the Eastern Conference Finals trophy. But we don't want to stop there. We already have one of those. We need the big one. We need the big trophy. Haliburton holding the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Cam Jones right there. We see Isaiah Jackson. We see Nembhard. These guys remember what happened in 2025. They're not going to let it happen again. Despite the Thunder winning the Western Conference in a sweep over the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic did win Western Conference Finals MVP with 34, 14, 9. 60% from the field, 77 from 3. He did everything he could, but his team is nowhere close to as good as the Thunder are. Haliburton with 23 and 11 in his Finals MVP, as we are going to be playing the Thunder once again. The lineups have changed a little bit, but the core elements of the roster are the same. Yes, there is no more Alex Caruso. Yes, we no longer have TJ McConnell. But Denny Avdia has come into our lineup. They have Thomas Sobers in theirs. Cason Wallace is a little bit older, a little bit more productive. Chet is a little bit more productive and older. Jalen Williams is a little older and more productive. And so is Shea. We can't deny that that bench is going to be really, really good at this point, several years in the future. Game 1 of the NBA Finals in 2027. Will Tyrese Haliburton be able to come back after his injury and get the title that he was so close to having in 2025? Game 1 goes to the Pacers. We win 131-124. Siakam had 30, Mathurin had 21, Nembhard 19, Haliburton 18 and 17, 18 and 10 for Denny, and 14 for Pippen Jr. Let's go to Game 2. Shea did have 30, but it wasn't enough. Game 2 in Indiana. We win that one as well, winning both games at home. We win this one by 30 as Denny puts up 36. Siakam has 23. Haliburton with 14 and 11. The Thunder underperforming Chet, 3 for 14 on the day. And Jalen is he hurt? Did they lose? No, he's not. He's up here. He only had 14. I'm just like blind. I feel like that number should be a little bit better. All right, Game 3 going into OKC. Can we win this one? We cannot. The first game in OKC goes to the Thunder. Shea has 29, Malik Monk 21, 19 from J-Dub, as we get 27 from Mathurin and 24 and 12 from Haliburton. Just not much from anybody else on the roster. We kind of are noticing that a lot of the production is based on what Denny can bring to the table. If Denny has a good game and doesn't foul out, we have a good shot. If he does foul out, I don't know. He's kind of the best defensive stopper we have for Shea. Game 4 in OKC. We win 125-114. We are up. Shea only had 17 and 8 this game. He shot 4 for 15 from the field. Denny had a phenomenal game. Really shut him down. Exactly what I said I needed out of him. 26 and 8 for Haliburton here in this one. Didn't get much from the rest of the guys, but I mean, they all got double digits, so I can't complain. Going into game 5 in Indiana. Let's go into a simcast and see if we can take down this Oklahoma City Thunder team and get our vengeance for what happened in 2025. Game 5 here in Indiana. Can we take down the Oklahoma City Thunder and make sure they don't three-peat? They were kind of weak against us in 2025. We just came up short due to Haliburton's injury. After the first, we're going to take a big lead and a big run here at the end of the first. We were losing, but we had a big run. OKC is putting up a run of their own to try to make it a shorter gap. We only win the first by 5. In the second, it is a close game. We are still in the lead. But OKC is always right there. They have Shea, they have J-Dub, they have Chet. They take the lead back for the first time since early in the first. It is going to be a very close game in the second, as OKC is going to take the second quarter, but we win the first half by 1 point. Going into the third, we have a little bit of a lead. We are up by 6-7. We are going on a run here in the third. Can we extend it to a big lead? We are up 15, 18, 17. We are up big, a huge third quarter from the Pacers. We have 51 in the third quarter. We are going to be up by 20 going into the fourth quarter, having a big fourth quarter. The Indiana Pacers are going to win the NBA Finals behind Tyrese Haliburton. Let's jump in and let's watch the celebration. Well, I think most people would have been excited for some fireworks in an NBA Finals. The Indiana fans are just going to be happy with the title they're going to get, and actually the less stressful approach as they win by a lot here in Game 5 of the NBA Finals in their home stadium in Cambridge as Haliburton dribbles around, passes it over to Denny. He's going to take a contested mid-range, up by 25. It doesn't matter. They are up by 25. Dort's going to dribble it around here at the end of this game. The Pacers are going to be able to win the title and be NBA champions here in 2027, the first year of Tyrese Haliburton's return. The refs call a foul. They didn't need to call that. Siakam fouls out. The bench is going to be able to come in and touch the floor. Prosper comes in. Jackson comes in. McDaniels comes in. Everybody gets a chance to see the court as the rest of the team gets to go to the bench and start celebrating early. They've won the title. They've done it all. The Thunder won't be winning again. Sobers is going to shoot the free throw. He misses it. Jackson with the rebound. The Indiana Pacers are NBA champions in 2027 behind the likes of Tyrese Haliburton, Denny Avdija, Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, and Andrew Nembhard. The same team, just with a little bit of extra role players and a big acquisition of Denny Avdija in order to make everything work. Rick Carlisle is back in the finals, having won another championship here. And the Pacers have overcome. The tragedy is no more. The tragedy has turned into a success. Tyrese Haliburton's story will be written in stone, not as a disappointing end to what could have been the miracle worker basically falling short at that point. No. Instead, it is a comeback story about someone who overcame an Achilles injury, who overcame the most, I guess, heartbreaking and destructive loss. He gets to touch that trophy. He gets to hold it. He gets to lift it. Denny Avdija gets Finals MVP. I mean, he was a dominant player, stopped Shea Gilgeous-Alexander out of anything, but still, Haliburton gets to hold up the trophy. The Pacers are Finals champions. It's what we wanted to see in 2025. We didn't get it, but we got it in 2027. The Pacers win the championship. Denny Avdija gets Finals MVP, not Tyrese Haliburton, but it's okay. I mean, if you end up looking at it, do you really make it? Do you think Tyrese cares? I think all he cares about is the trophy that he gets to hold on to at the end. The Pacers have won. We have done it. We have made sure to rewrite the ending of this story, and Haliburton is no longer going to be the biggest what if. And that's all he needed to see. One-time NBA champion. Tyrese Haliburton has done it. The point guard from Ohio State. The 12th overall pick in the 2020 draft. So many teams passed over him. The Kings traded him away. He's the most overrated player in the NBA. I don't think anymore. Congratulations, Tyrese. That's going to be the end of it for me today on this Indiana Pacers rebuild. I know it's short. I know we won it pretty early. I actually wasn't expecting to win it this quickly. But the whole goal was to rewrite the story of Tyrese Haliburton to make sure he got the championship that he so deserved in 2025. And we have succeeded in that. Quite early, in fact, in 2027. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Indiana Pacers rebuild. I know it wasn't much of a rebuild as much as it was a retool and a simulation. But we've done it. Thank you very much for watching.